Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Live from Alliance headquarters in Burlington, North Carolina. Hosted by Andy Albright. From this week's Instant Thunder. Brought to you by AMP Studios in front of a live studio audience. Featuring in-depth training and the latest Alliance news. Now, let's hear it for our President and CEO, Andy Albright!
All righty now. This thing's getting crazy. Y'all grab a seat. I think that's what I want y'all to do is grab a seat. Woo! Let's just get right down to it. We like to have fun, make money, and make a difference. Let's just get right down to it. How many of y'all interested in this March Madness contest? Who is competing for the March Madness money? I'll tell you what, we got some great stuff to cover with you. Talk about integrity. We'll talk about the house of the Alliance, and how it was built, and how we're going to build it massive. Because I'm going to tell you this. We got one heck of a foundation going on right now because we're going to build a big, big building with a lot of people with hangars, a lot of people with planes. I believe it. I really do. God, I've never felt as much like that as I feel right now. All right. So we do have a lot of new people that are looking in from across the nation. The live TWC is held every Wednesday. When we have an Instant Thunder, we kick off the Instant Thunder with these guys, the people that came in from across the nation live. And so we're gonna you'll get a little taste of the Alliance and what's going on with us by looking in, and it keeps you kind of in the rhythm, keeps you in the flow, keeps you in step with what's going on across the nation. So the first thing I know when I start working with a person is if they will lean in, we say it. Some people say plug in, but it's lean towards us. It's be a part of all the events, like the Instant Thunders, like the TWCs, like the activity calls. What I feel, and I recommend you feel this way, is when people are just trying to sail with our leads and make some money, we feel used. You with me? But we want them to feel like a family that likes each other. Not some of those families. Not some of those families. So, the Alliance decided to put on a contest in the month of March. It is very simple rules. It goes like this. The top 10 producers for the month of March get $10,000 each. Where are we going to start? I want to go ahead and give you some numbers so you have a feel for it. From number 10 to number 50, it's only a $17,000 difference. Now keep in mind, this is through March 15th. So we have 16 more days to go. Let's see who is number 50. Number 50 with 9,352 is Mark Bisco Sr. Misha Marsh is number 49 with $9 grand. You say, how much they win? Well, they win their commissions. Angela Manzo is number 48. Michael Paleo is 47. Beth Ireland is 46 in the country. Rory Bean is number 45. William Bill Cook is number 44 in the country. Adam Johnson is number 43. I think Bill came in number 1 in the nation last year. So I would expect movement there. Adam Johnson, Crystal Spooner, Mimi Romero, and Belle Krause is number 40. We're getting closer. And listen, we're still at 9,995. So not even 10 grand. So the first 10 grand in 15 months gets you to number 39, Doug Becker. Shannon Barnhart, Louis Abadi, Paul Menachino, Terry Edwards right there. Dante Williams, Annette Clark, Mike Rodriguez, and when you move up to 11,000 issue paid in 15 days, Paul Epstein holds that position. Andrea Turner, Karen Musel, Scott Broughton comes rolling in at 11.5. A new guy in town, Travis Graham. You Bet Weatherspoon coming here with 12,400 in 15 days. Angela Clark, I think I saw her earlier. There she is. Is that right? With 13.2, the first one into 13, moving in, still 13, Dylan Ghana didn't come on there. All right, here we go. 23, Tad Peterson. Number 22, Nathan Thomas. Look here, Debbie Ben clocking in at 21 in the country. She says, it's snowing up here. Jane Hill is number 20 in the country. Let me tell you this. Jane, you are $3,000 from being number 10. Look at that. 3,000. I mean, what are you talking about? 3 apps? 3 apps. All right. Mac Judy, number 19. How about this? Taylor Smith, number 18. Nick Narlis, number 17. How about this one? Chris Long, number 16, with 15,600. So he is only 1,400 from being number 10. Michael Owens, number 15. Pam Moore, where's she at? Pam Moore, number 14, with 15,700. Tim Tipton at number 13 with 16,100. This is going to be a tight race down the stretch. Justin Balick has moved up. I think he was like 50 the first time I read him off, or 60. Now he's number 12 with 16,200. And this guy wins. If the contest ended today, he'd get the sticky notes. You know, like if somebody's not home, you put the sticky notes on their door. And he's that close from winning. Marty Dozier, you are that guy. But in fact, you would be number 11, which is not number 10. If it ended today, Eric Belair would have $10,000 cash. So you need to know what number 10 is, right? $17,064. So what do you think it's going to take to get in the top 10? I'm thinking 40. Because 17, 34,000. So you know 30, you got to believe it's going to be 34. But how many of y'all that are in this contest think it's going to take 40? 10 people writing 40 grand would be really cool. How about this? Andrew Peters, number 9 in the country so far. How about this? Arnita Cato is in the top 10. Arnita Cato in the top 10. She ain't been with us a year. I think she's been with us 6 months, maybe. She's at 17.6. Sarge is at 17.9. Chadwick Ray and Melanie are at 18,000 on the dot. James Coleman jumps 21,400. Brent Swindell, 21,500. Mark Hutchinson, 22,400. Kimberly Spinelli Young at $24,156. And right now, number 1, Michelle Alleman at $24,844. Can you, Billy, if you can pull up the top 50 producers of all time. Yeah, top 50, all carriers combined. All carriers. This is interesting. So when I did the March Madness, they said Brant Swindell is number 3, number 4. I said, how did he get to be number 1 here? When we do the issue paid total, we don't max out. You get 5% credit for annuity. So if you do a $400,000 annuity, that gets you 20,000 points. You with me? So the March Madness caps it at $5,000, max $5,000. So why are you making a big deal out of it? I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm just telling Michelle that Brant Swindell is number 1 right now. And I didn't want her to miss that point. So the rest would rank, it's very, very similar unless one of these had a large. So I'm telling you, Swindell got a big check on a big annuity also. I don't know how much it was. I just know that's the difference in the numbers. So let's take a look at top in Foresters, top in CFG, and top in National Westerns. Let's do Foresters. Let's see who we got. Okay, CFG's fine. Let's do the top 10. So we got Mike Paleo, Edith Brown, Ben Smallage, Andrea Turner, Jared Gonzalez, Michelle Alleman, You Bet coming in there at number 4, Arnita, number 3, Chadwick Ray, and Brian Hill. Okay, so let's go to Foresters. And this is year to date. This is the whole, this is month to date. This is year to date. Hey, let's go back to the all carriers year to date. Michelle might be beating him year to date. She is? Oh, yeah, here she is. So I'm glad you came on strong for that month, Swindell. That's smoking. I don't see. Here he is. So year to date, he comes in at 13 with 53,000. Michelle's already did 90,000. By the way, the contest to win all expense paid trip to Paris for 5 nights, 5 days, 6 nights in a 5-star restaurant, 5-star hotel. 5-star restaurants too. She needs 115,000 to win it. She already got 90,000 in less than 3 months. So if you look at it, we're probably going to have 10 people come close to winning the Paris in the first 90 days of the contest. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I see people win in 90 days, I start thinking I could do it in a year. I thought some way, somehow, I can figure out what I'm doing wrong and win it in a year if other people win it in 90 days. Okay, so let's go to the Forest. We did Foresters. Let's go, or we did CFG. Let's go to Foresters. Top 10 with Foresters. Mac Judy, Chris Long, Taylor Smith, Ida, Scott Broughton, Karen Musel, Eric Belair, Andrew Peters, number 3 in the country, Tim Tipton, and Kimberly Spinelli Young for the month. 23,000 for the month. And then year to date, we've got Shannon Barnhart, Kennel Romaine, Bill Cook, Mac Judy, Belair, Minerve, Vanessa, Jacob, George Andershock, and Kimberly Spinelli Young. And we have the National Western for the first time, so let's pull that up, at least the most information we've ever had. And I'm not sure if it's 100% complete. Month to date, we got Janice, how do you say her name? Preshock? That's what it is, Preshock. Jamal Neal, Adam Johnson, Caleb Law, Leticia, Kimberly, Richard, Timothy, Paul Roberts, Reba Edwards, Carlos Cooper, Refad, Nathan, James, Bubba Skinner, Ryan Sauls, and Michelle Alleman. Is that right? Is that James Skinner? Is that Bubba? That is him? Or one time I was fired up about a guy that wasn't him. That wasn't Bubba. And Ryan Sauls has popped in the case. So this, and then year to date, here we go. Top 10, Jacob Kern, Dora Wasaki, Richard Davidson, Refab, Bob Blevins, Ryan Sauls, Nathan Thomas, James, Bubba Skinner, Tim Tipton, and Michelle Alleman. And this is very significant with the carriers, okay? Because each one of these carriers, they want to know who's producing and who they need to be talking to and who they need to get to know. All right, so you got to feel for the kind of production that's going on. If you want to compete in the alliance, you see the kind of numbers you need to hit. Now, Good Samaritan bonus. Let's look at the February Good Samaritan bonus, Billy. Okay, here we go. We hadn't covered February, so last month we did 11,700, and we also had some SEAL team winners. We had 1 SEAL team 6, 2 golds, 5 silver, 9 bronze SEAL team. And so we have the airplane. I'm looking for it. Here we go. How about Jeff? Would you bring the airplane over here and the bag? Please, sir. Be a big help to me. So we have 9 of these left. This is the I'm in 24/7. So we have 9 of those left. That requires SEAL Team 6. And we have the bag, the SEAL Team bag. It's got it's basically your, whatever you want to use, utility bag. A lot of us going to carry our pistols in it. Some of us going to carry our money in it. There's 27 of those left and 86 of the Alliance gear. Jeff's going to bring that over here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, a couple of the shirts. Just let's show them what they look like. All right. So who has taken SEAL Team 6? Carrie Williams has moved into the SEAL Team 6 for February. So the bronze, no, not the, let's see where we go back up here and make sure we get this right. I don't want to quote you. So the Alliance gear, so this is, you'd have to be silver and above to get the Alliance shirt, the XLS Jet with the N24/7 down the sleeve, and the hat comes with it with the N24/7 and the t-shirt. So there's quite a few of those left. All right? Okay, and by the way, if you go straight to SEAL Team, so Carrie will pick up one of everything. So it's not like you have to stop at any area. You just take the whole bunch, which is fine. Good job, Carrie Williams, Mike and Carrie. All right, so the other thing that's critical, I really want you to watch, is how many people they recruited. So Mike and Carrie recruited 2. They had 1 move up to get their first issue paid. They had 2 people get their 2 new legs get their 5th issue paid. So if you start looking at these colors over here, the red colors over here, it'll tell you whose organization hierarchy is growing. Okay? So James Coleman had 3 get the first 3 issue paid. Another one over here, 3rd. 2 first issue paid 2. He had 1 person who got their 10th issue paid. So when you hire an agent, your goal is to get them fast money, 1, 2, 3 outs, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want to get them in that rhythm as fast as you can. That's why we pour leads on people. We put them in a car with us. If somebody says, hey, my mama wants to see how this insurance works, can you come show me? We go over there with them and try to get those first checks in their hand and get them moving so that we get them used to the whole program. All right, so James Coleman, Michael Owens, and so the SEAL Team 6 gets $350. SEAL Team Gold gets $350, a choice going to their charity. Michael Owens gets the $350. George Andershock, Pam Moore, Nathan Thomas, Jacob Kern, Sharon Barnhart, Junior Correa, Olga Mathis, right there, Terry Edwards, James Hill, James and Jane, Meg Murray. Meg Murray's coming on strong. Look at this, 21,000. I like it when these names you've never heard, like Meg Murray, and you're like, wait, who is this lady? Well, she's obviously got it smoking. She's part of Michael Owens' teams, 21,000 plus 2 contracted, plus 2, 1 person got their first issue paid. Katrina Gustin, smoking, same here. Michelle Alleman, 20,000 plus 3 recruits, 2 in this column, 1 in that column, and 1 in that column. That's big-time growth right there. Dora Wasaki, same thing. Mark Hutchinson. So those are all the SEAL team. Now we go down to the $2,200 Good Samaritan bonus. Adam Johnson, Jeremy Patton, Leticia, Eric Belair, Danny Johnson, Michael Hartlib, Mac Judy, Angela Clark, Gustavo Bell Krause, Bob Blevins, Julie Heimer, James Bubba Skinner, Joe Dukes, Brant Swindell, Mike Rodriguez, James Alara, Martha Batorsky, Chadwick Ray, Marcy Hicks, Myung Choi, Mickey Cruz, John Lehman, Toby Griggs. Did I see Toby over there? Stephen Moore, Jasmine Lightborn, Venus, Michelle Penn, Jennifer Moore, Jorge Weinstein, Diana Vacole, Norman Gordon, Eric McGriff, I know I saw him, Paul Van Thoth, brand new name on the board there, Jorge Gilday, who's that? Leva, that's a new name, all right, Paul Roberts' team, Doug Becker, Darrell Elkins, Alan Hooley, Nicholas Eberwine, Nick Eberwine, way to go, $100. No, yeah, $100 to your favorite charity, let us know. John Davis, Stephen Davies come rolling in there. I see Stephen here. Jamar Travis, way to go, Jamar. Wanda McPhillips, Bill Cummings. That is Asheville Bill right there. Hal Rosen, Michael Paleo, Sheila Faison, Tracy Alvarado, Austin Smith, William DeSanto, Sydney, how you say that? Lagogian. Lagogian? Lagogian? Lagogianis. No, do I say the S on the end of it? Lagogianis. Sydney Lagogianis. And Megan Alleman. Do we have any more of those? That's where it ends. So see, what we could have had, if Kimberly had had one person in this category, GSB, $350. Same thing with Henry Boylan. Just one person, $350 would have went out. Debbie Ben. So we got to get, what we're looking for is balance here all the way across. So 11,700. How much y'all think we're going to give away in March? We're going to give some cash away in March with a Good Samaritan bonus. Okay. All right. It's a big deal right there. God, I don't even imagine. I'm excited how much money we'll give away in March. I want to say this. I want to do this too. Let's see one more thing. Let's do the Good Samaritan bonus by. Here we go. By location. So in Orlando, Florida, all these people won Good Samaritan bonus. So what we need to do is each hot spot. Orlando, fired up. In Tampa, Meg Murray's leading the way, along with Mike Hartlib, Hernan, Lewis, Gabriel, Larry. Here we go. San Antonio, Clark, New Jersey. So each city represented who's got the most Good Samaritan bonus. Terry Edwards, Greensboro. There's Houston South. St. Louis, Missouri represented. Fort Lauderdale, Wilmington, North Carolina represented. D.C., Louisville, Asheville, Rancho Cucamonga, Cincinnati, McAllen, Seattle, Annapolis, Maryland. Here we go. Honolulu represented. Minneapolis, Phoenix, Melbourne, Raleigh, North Carolina, Doral, Florida, Atlanta, Cleveland, Connecticut represented, Richmond, Virginia, Jacksonville, Columbus. All right, guys. Would it help to send that out? Would it help to blast that whole thing out to the key leaders? If y'all would, my staff, y'all would take care of getting that out to the key leaders, get all of them a copy of that, and here's your copy. Okay, I want to come back to this March Madness real quick for a good reason. I think it's a good reason. $10,000 at the end of the month. How many of y'all that would change your life? That would make a huge difference. I mean, you're not rich, but you can really feel it. The reason I mention that to you because every single month we pay bonuses based on you helping other people besides just you selling. When you get other people moving up, we give out bonuses. It's called the Goldmine bonus, the Builder's Goldmine bonus. So if I have a few of those checks, I want to read off real quick to you. This month, Lauren and Aaron Atkins got $618. And I have these. If y'all want to come up, if you're here, I think Lauren might be here. Michael Hartlib, 702. Jamie and Amy Patton, 765. Paul and Samantha Menachino, 800. Steve and Kathy Bowery, 800. Kyle Weinbrenner, 900. Kyle Cater, 980. Dorian Saunders, 1,000. Mickey and Joanna Cruz, 1,100. Adam and Beth Katz, 1,100. James and Jane Hill, 1,152. Patrick and Susie Connors, 1,200. Pierre and Minerve, 1,200. George and Penny Wilson, 1,200. Justin Balick, 1,339. Jason Tawny Carey, 1,764. Chadwick and Melanie Ray, 1,790. Michael and Angie Owens, 1,790. Paul and Valerie Epstein, 1,900. Eric and Bobby Belair, 2,200. Imagine every single month. It's just having a hierarchy. It's building. Mark Marcellus, $3,000. Mike and Noel Leventovich, 3,500. Andy Riddle, 3,500. Stephen Davies, 5,065. Paul and Tamara Roberts, 5,900. Diane Lampy, 6,400. Listen to this. Alex and Jenny Abian, every month, $14,491. And Alex and Heather Fitzgerald, $40,052. What I'm wondering is, what are these bonuses going to be in March? I mean, I'm thinking we're up 25 to 35%. How much, real quick, you name how much your organization is up this month over the last couple of months. And where are you from?
Hey, my name is Mickey Cruz, and me and my wife Joanna, Test. Hey there, everybody. My name is Mickey Cruz. Me and my beautiful wife Joanna live in Orlando, Florida, and we go to the Orlando hotspot. And we were hired by Mike and Noel Leventovich. And the calculator is just ease on the end for the errors on year over year. No, I'm kidding. We got some graphs that came out.
How much are you up this month over the last couple months?
Over the last couple of months,
we're how much?
About 30%.
About 30%. Good job, Mickey. Lauren, right here.
Lauren Atkins, hired by Chadwick and Melanie Ray. We're also seeing the same thing. We're about 30% up over last month.
Okay.
Big Mike currently out of Tampa, Florida. We're up about 30% right now, too, with 10 more unique writers.
Adam and Beth Katz, Wilmington, North Carolina. We're up probably about 60% last few months.
James and Jane Hill, we are up about 25, 35%, somewhere in between there.
Chadwick and Melanie Ray, we are definitely up 45 to 60% any given week. Yes, sir.
Andy Riddle, Jacksonville, Florida, up 65%.
Stephen Davies, Asheville, North Carolina, and we're up about 80%.
Diane Lampy, we're up 35%.
Alex Abian, I believe we're up around 22%.
He knows. He don't believe he's up 22%. He knows he's up 22%. He probably knows 22 point whatever %. All right. 15 days to go. 16 days to go in March, and we're laying this $10,000. Let me be clear. If you don't win the contest, you get all the extra money that you earn for trying to win the contest. I just want to explain to y'all how this works. And if you're wondering if we're going to recognize the top 50 again, yes, we will. So you should get recognized. You should be going for the top 50. You should be going for the top 10. And let's kill this thing the rest of the March. Right. Congratulations. I'm glad all you guys are here. Good to see you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Oh, and if you would take those and distribute them, their names should be on them. If your check is not in there, not all the checks, it's just the ones they thought were going to be here, so they'll get it. All right, Jeff Bright in the house. Y'all give Jeff Bright a hand.
Hello, everybody. You
ready to talk about this?
Ready to talk about this.
It's all going on. Oh, reminder, I need everybody to remember this. Your new people that are getting licensed, make sure they get their family reunion ticket quick, like within 10 days of them getting their license, so that they get bonus points toward the Paris trip. They can still come to the family reunion if they don't sign up, but they don't get the bonus points unless they go ahead and get signed up now. Does that make sense? And I don't want them mad at you and say, hey, you didn't tell me. I go like, I can't, I'm telling it on the show, and I'm telling it to all the leaders to just make sure that your people know that, okay? Because family reunion is going to be out of control crazy. I'm so excited about it. Y'all can imagine the ones that are here for the first time walking around. Imagine the excitement of 1,700 people. People say, hey, you know 1,700 people, because that's all this will hold, and we're not allowed to have any more. So that not only will they get bonus points, there's tickets going to get sold out also, okay? All right, so what we've been working through is showing you how the house is built with the Alliance. So we've got our 8 steps, and you guys have all read that book. Some of you that are brand new, you're just starting to read it. And then we actually have 8 values that we talk about, and we had a very short, simplistic idea of what each one of these were. And so we're coming out with a new book, which will be the 8 values, and then the behaviors based on the values that we represent. So we're what you're seeing is us writing this book with you. We get Avians give suggestions. Patrick Connor, several people have come in with suggestions. We've had some great quotes that have been sent in that'll be added to the book. So feel free to shoot us text, emails, and we'll incorporate the leadership's ideas into this book. So we have, so we're on integrity today. But Jeff, you want to comment on the whole house?
Yeah, I checked with the guy that teaches carpentry over at the college where I used to work, and he said these things were called dormers. Am I correct on that? Yeah. So if that's the case, then these for us are belief dormers. These are our beliefs. And these core values, these pillars, hold up those beliefs. See how they play off each other? Yeah, and I said this last week, and I'll say it again. If you do these 8 steps and you take these 8 steps and read the book, then we'll welcome you in. What happens is you get welcomed into this world of prosperity, inspiration, and eternity. That's the door. So I'm trying to give you an idea about what went into the motivation that went into this house. So is there a way we'll circle this? I can circle this, right?
Yes. Give me a second. Should be good to go.
All right. So we did excellence. And I was trying to make a tie to the value, to the dormer belief. If you do excellence the way we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and you believe in that recipe and it speaks to you, then that's really going to help you make money. That value speaks right to that dormer belief. You see that? I'm sorry if some of you can't see this, but service.
They can see it. You got up top.
Oh, okay. Service helps us make a difference. If we buy into that recipe, it helps us buy into the fact that we need to give back and we need to be a service to our fellow man and womankind. Correct? But these next 4, these are directly tied, and I know it sounds crazy, but directly tied to having fun. I have, for the last 7, almost 8 years, tried to figure out what is the secret sauce that makes us different. You feel it when you come in the door, right, Pam? You sense it when we're all together. But what is it that makes us different? I used to think it's because we make money, but other places make money. And I really thought for the longest time is the fact that we get to give back and we make a difference. And the Good Samaritan bonus, all that. That's great too. But I think what keeps us together is that we need to figure out what this have fun is all about. Because having fun is not about celebration so much or going to a trip and riding on a snowmobile. I think it's the fact that we like each other. Andy kind of hit upon it. He hit upon it at the beginning. We're comfortable with each other. Like where I used to work, we knew how to make money, and we knew how to make a difference in kids' lives at that college. We didn't know how to have fun. We just didn't. Because if you invited us to go to something after hours, nobody showed up. Invite this crowd to do something beyond selling insurance. We're all showing up. We're all here. You're here today.
Big.
We gather as a collective we. And if we do not, listen, we got to do housekeeping every day. We're letting new people in our house every day. And they need to know it comes with a price. We expect all of you, the ones that have been here a while, the ones just got here, that we got to have integrity with each other. We have got to have accountability for our actions. We've got to respect each other, and we've got to sure have some compassion for each other in our time of need. You do those 4, we're going to have fun. We don't do those 4, the fun goes right out of it. Because we don't like each other, we ain't showing up around each other. So that's why I want to kind of give you some framework about this. And we're going to do integrity today, if that's okay. We're ready to talk about it? All right. I'm sorry I went off on that little riff, but...
I think it's important. I think it's important, and some of us that came together when we first started the Alliance, we came into the Alliance, we actually joined a company that don't exist anymore, and when we had that camaraderie, but we lost a lot of it, and people have heard me talk about this, like what have y'all been through, the fight you've been through. We lost a lot of it because some of the people among us did not have the same value system, and it just literally was not as fun every day. We were making money, we were building it, but today we have the most fun, we have the best relationships throughout the Alliance, and that's what I think, Melanie, is that's the foundation that now we can go to 10,000 applications a week and 20,000 applications a week. And with that foundation, now other people, like hundreds of people, can get their own Ferrari, their own jet. You with me? We can't, because we can't stick together if we don't like each other. So, all right, let's get into integrity and how we think this column is going to help hold it up.
How much do you got written up there?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Here we go. Integrity.
I got this Gandhi quote we start off with. Truth never damages a cause that is just. Our cause is just, so we deserve, this cause deserves our very best, but it also deserves the truth. We need to let people speak their truth, and we need to be truthful. Now, you may or not heard this before, but I wanted to give you some definitions. Integrity is telling yourself the truth. Honesty is telling each other the truth. There is a difference. You'll see it played out when we get into the recipe. Character, which we throw that word around a lot, that's what God knows of us. Reputation is what others think of us. That's a difference too. I know I'm trying to make, slight differentiations here. All right, the last definition here, integrity is the mother to all virtues. So all these values we have up here, it is the mother to the other 7. It is a firm adherence to a code of moral values. So to have integrity, we have to have a code that we all agree to and we're going to live by. That way, we're not corruptible. If we don't, we will be subject to being corruptible. It begins when we deal justly with ourselves. Integrity is the light that shines from a disciplined conscience. And that's what I'm doing here, is to lead you into the first part of the recipe, which is disciplined conscious. Do we have the recipe up here? Yes. So disciplined conscious is what we're going to hit upon first. And I just did an intro to that. But the other two ingredients that we'll get into is authentic mind and ethical competence. Now, those are fancy, big words, but I thought this organization deserved a little bit of respect, and we put some big words out there. We're gonna break them down, but when other people see our recipes, I want them to be impressed that we got some academic and intellectuals amongst us, right?
We let's add Cleve McClary's comment. Say what you mean what you say.
Yeah, we'll put that.
So Mac will add that in. That Cleve McClary. Cleve's a good friend of ours. Say what you mean what you say. The other thing is that I want the Alliance to learn is these people use words. They go like, his character is great. And I go, his reputation is great. You don't necessarily know. Reputation leads you to believe what his character is.
Yep.
And all of these things are earned over time. Like you come into the Alliance, we 100% believe you until you prove us not. Does that make sense?
He said something before we walked in here. We actually do sit down and talk about this a little bit. We're not just talking off the cuff. So we practiced, we rehearsed a little bit. And before we came in here, we was trying to sit down and think about integrity. In a nutshell, what is it about? And Andy said, well, I know when I don't see it or I feel like I'm not getting it, it's when I feel I have some doubt about a person. And that doubt really leads me to believe that maybe I'm not sure about their integrity. I think that's important because we need hints and signs. And one of those is your conscience speaking to you and say, I got a little doubt here. And what you're doubting is their integrity.
All right, so on to your formula. So disciplined conscious, first ingredient of integrity.
And really, here's another way to break that down, a discerning judgment. Having a judgment that you sit there and have a little bit of reservation at first. And you're trying to figure it out. You don't just rush to judgment. You have a discerning judgment. It assists you, this discerning judgment assists you in distinguishing right from wrong. That's what it does for you. And disciplined conscience is broken down into two things, guilt and loyalty. Now, loyalty is an easy one to talk about. Guilt is not so much what you think of as a virtue, but it is if you use it the right way. So I tried to find some things that would convince you that guilt could be used as a virtue. Realization of your responsibility to yourself not to violate your internal moral code, creating what is called the moral compass. And that's what guilt does for us. When I start to sway and I'm going to do something that may be damaging to another person, my guilt takes over. Hopefully, my parents did a good job and gave me a good, sound moral compass. So when I start to step out of line, my guilt says, hey, Jeff, you're going to feel bad if you do that. That's when my guilt's a virtue, right? So I have an acute awareness. That guilt gives me an acute awareness of what? Remorse. Remorse is a sign that guilt's giving you that maybe this is not the right thing to do. And also, restitution is allowed if you use guilt. If you feel guilt and you've done somebody wrong, you may come back and allow them some restitution, maybe in a form of forgiveness. You see how that works? That's how guilt. So I'm not trying to sell you that guilt's such a great thing, but it does help with this thing called a guidance system. The guidance system is that moral compass. And it allows you to do two things that are important for integrity. To be able to explain your actions. If you can't explain, Andy says that to me all the time. He said, if you can't explain it, don't do it. And discover the reason for the thought to begin with. Maybe it's time to sit there and think, why do I have these thoughts? Try to figure out where they're coming from. Those are two things you need to do, and the guidance system is forever indebted to those two things. I want you to use your guidance system to create intuitive feelings about what you're about to do, and use your gut. Don't use desire. Desire will get you in trouble. It's a subjective emotion. Desire is about want. When want takes over your gut, sometimes you may be doing something you shouldn't be doing. I want a lot of things, but my gut tells me sometimes maybe not right now, Jeff. That's important. You want to say anything to that before we move to loyalty?
Yeah. We're in a lot of situations. We've got thousands and thousands of agents, and y'all are in a million situations. And when people ask you to do something, or when you think, maybe I should do this, here's a thought. How are you going to defend your position? I know the position you took. I got that. Defend it. In a court of law, in a debate, how would you defend it? And if yours is, well, I needed the money, so I did this act, or I committed this crime against the insurance company. I go, so let me get this straight. So your defense is you needed the money, and they want to let you go, and I'm trying to argue on your behalf. You're defending your position is pretty weak. Does that make sense? It's just and y'all know this is a country song, right? I know what I was feeling, but I don't know what I was thinking. Does that make sense? So be ready to defend your move, is what he's talking about. And he's saying, I think things through, and I'm going, I'll feel terrible if I do this. So there's your gut feeling as opposed to getting that check. Does that make sense? This is huge. We'll get this locked in. All right, loyalty.
Defend your position in the light of day is what he says, in the light of day. All right, so loyalty. So if we could give loyalty some props and say that it is the heart of all virtues. It's what it's called, the heart of all virtues. If integrity is the mother of all virtues, loyalty is the heart. And it's a strong feeling of support and allegiance. Two things. You got to have both to be loyal. You got to have support. You got somebody's back, and you've got to be totally allegiant to that cause. And it's called unwavering commitment. And it requires one thing: priority thinking. Sometimes you have to sit there and think, what are my priorities? And know that you won't violate those priorities. If you don't know what your priorities are, then we got a problem. Each one of you, I called you up here, what is your priorities in life? And a lot of you would say, what? My family, my spouse, my children. You got to get them right. Then everything else falls in place. But you can't violate your priorities. And unwavering commitment is something that you can see in people by two things: whether they're devoted and they're faithful. They got to be both. And what I mean by devotion is you have an obligation to that creed or that motto that you stand behind, that crest that you stand behind, that shield that you stand behind. And in this business, NAA is our shield. It's not just a logo, it's our shield. And do you have devotion to that shield? Will you stand behind? Are you obligated to do the best you can to represent that shield every day? And faithfulness means that you have made a promise, not just to yourself, but we've made a promise to each other that we're not going to let each other down. There's a coach back in the day, back in my day, named Bum Phillips. You remember him, Michael? Bum Phillips. Some of the young people don't know who I'm talking about. He coached the former Houston Oilers, who are now the Tennessee Titans. And the Houston Oilers were not very good when he came along. And he inherited that NFL team. And he thought, we got a lot of talent. We got a lot of talent in the locker room, but we're not together. So what he did is he took a rope and he cut it into many pieces. And he gave everybody on the team a piece of that rope. He said, hold on to the rope. If you hold on to this rope, then you're adhering to a promise to each other. And that rope became something that it was magical for that city. Everybody had a piece of rope that they brought to the game, and they waved them in the audience. And they went all the way to the AFC Championship, lost to the Steelers, which was a great team. And if there was instant replay, I think they would have beat the Steelers back then. All right, so you want to say something about loyalty?
Yeah. Okay, so 7 steps to highly effective people. Here's the way it works. This is the way he's explaining it. We say, all right, we're going to travel together. So you picture us traveling together. We're going to do this for the next 30 years. So you're over here, you go like, we're going to do this for the next 30 years. So you picture this. I'm 83 years old. I'm like, Mr. Katz, brother, where are we going next? You with me? Let me give you another one. We were looking at a little picture of me and Jane 14 years ago, and the kids sitting there. There's a group. Who all was over at my house for steaks last night? So we were having steaks over at the house last night, and they were looking at pictures 14 years ago. And those of y'all hadn't heard, Haley's got engaged now, and she's got a wedding plan for next year. And so I remember standing talking to Jane, and when we were first dating, and said, I want to marry, I want to live with her forever. I pictured that picture that was 14 years ago when we were there at the water fountain. And I also told her that we were going to be crazy financially set up. We had nothing then. And then now I picture us at the wedding. Now, Jane says I can't talk about this to Haley, but I picture some grandkids up in here. Okay, you understand what I'm talking about? Chris and Courtney Long. Me and Jane hang out with Chris and Courtney Long, and we picture traveling with them. So we travel with them. Does that make sense? In other words, you see what's going to happen, and then you just commit. So Chris Long gets hurt. We take a financial hit. We run into a problem. We have a difficulty. I didn't say it was going to be perfect. Ain't no mention of perfection in here, is it? It's just a mention of making the promise true. Does that make sense? So, and that's what I tell people. Don't come in here loving, talking about, I'm going to be your friend, we're going to build it, and then you disappear on me. That is not the program. The program is stick ability. The program is make it happen. Don't be talking about a bunch of us going to have a jet and then another one of us have a jet. I picture coming over to Burlington Airport and seeing different custom planes and jets lined up, showing up at family reunion. Don't come not getting a jet. You said you was going to get a jet. Is that, you follow what I'm saying? It's what's happening in March is people are sticking to their commitment for 31 days. We've got to get those 90-day runs and those year runs to get that 30-year run. Does that make sense? That's what this is all about. Okay, Jeff, we got to roll. Promise you.
So I don't listen. We don't have time for all these. I mean, we were going to do these quotes, but basically,
read it and go. You
right.
get them.
This is St. Francis de Sales, 1200 BC. When we judge our own heart guilty, if we treat it gently in a spirit of pity rather than anger, encouraging it to amendment, its repentance will be much deeper and more lasting than if it was stirred up in vehemence and wrath. So basically it's saying we need to be gentle with ourselves but firm with ourselves and have displeasure with our own faults. But here's the most important part. So then, when you have fallen, lift up your heart by humbling yourself without marveling at the fall. Sometimes we talk about so much the fall so we can have an excuse that we can give people that we don't sit there and go, hey, I need to be upset with myself. I don't need to sit here and talk about why I'm upset and why it happened. I just need to be upset with myself in quiet displeasure. Okay, let's go to the next one. I like this loyalty because I don't know this guy, but I think some of y'all might know him. Kendrick Lamar. Is that somebody? Yeah. What? What? All right. I took this. I don't know what I must have been drinking or something when I read this, but and I don't even drink. Is it money? Is it fame? Is it coming down with the loud pipes and the rain in the rain? Yeah, the rain. Yeah. Big chillin'. Only for the power in your name. Tell me who you loyal to. Is it unconditional when the Rari, that's the Ferrari, don't start? Is it the love for the streets when the lights get dark? Tell me when your loyalty is coming from the heart. Basically what Kendrick is saying is damned or blessed depends on who or what you're loyal to. That's some good stuff right there. I think y'all should give me a clap for finding that. Because I don't even listen to rap. Must have been divine intervention that I came into that.
Authentic
mindset. Authentic mindset. Your conscious self is what we're talking about. True to one's personality, true to one's spirit, and true to one's character is how you become authentic. Because authentic is important. You can sell authentic all day long when you're a salesperson. People follow and they buy authentic. True to your personality means you act who you are. We see it in your behaviors. Spirit means you like who you are. And it's in your attitude, your overall attitude toward life. And character is knowing who you are. And you're aware of who that is. And you're proud of who that is. That's how you have an authentic mindset. And the recipe here is transparency, big time, and sincerity. Transparency. We need to create trust and dialogue. That's why if you want to know a reason to be transparent, you can get people to trust you and you can create a dialogue that will last forever. You got to get rid of the hidden agendas and you got to have full disclosure. That's the only way you can get insecurity out of people's mind about you. And you know what that gives you? Openness. And openness makes you accessible to people. People feel like they don't have to walk on eggshells around you. And if they don't feel like they don't have to walk on eggshells, guess what? Now they see you as predictable. They can approach you. They know what you're all about. You're going to show them the same face every day, and that gives you and who you are legitimacy. And that's what makes you have integrity is legitimacy. John Maxwell ties directly. His definition of integrity is all about being legitimate. Now, sincerity, free from pretense, deceit, and hypocrisy. You can't have those three things if you want to be considered sincere. Being real. We always use that word. Everybody's got to be real today. That's a big word today. What that basically means is you are genuine. You are a genuine human being. That's a great thing. That's a great compliment if somebody would give you that you're real. You're being real with them. And that real means you've proven to them by being factual with everything you talk about. You're just not tossing around ideas. You have based that on stuff that you know you can prove. That's big. Or otherwise, they just think you're a storyteller and you're just a BS artist.
All right. You ready?
Yep. Do the quote?
All right. No.
Nope.
Not yet.
Yep.
Okay. So the leadership, the Inner 33. By the way, if did anybody get an invitation to the Inner 33? Did you see it? Inner 33. If you are going to get an invitation to the Inner 33. That invitation has went out. And the reason I'm saying that is because it went out, it was blind emailed out, and I'm not sure if all the Inner 33 got their email. So if you, and here's something, you say, well, I thought I was going to get on the Inner 33. I thought I was the 33, and I didn't get an email. If you want to talk to me and say, hey, I might say, yeah, you were supposed to get an invite, or I will be glad to say, here's what you need to do. Here's the Inner 33. Here's what you need to do to step up, okay? Here's one thing that's real clear about the inner circle. This right here, no wondering. And what I mean by wondering is, if you want to know what an agenda is or what we're trying to do, ask me. Like some people say, like, why do you want to get so many referrals? I go, all right, let me defend my position. And then I take you through massive profitability in your organization. Or annuity sales. I talk about the integrity of helping people with their money and taking it out of a volatile situation when at this age it needs to be something secure. That's what annuities do. I can defend any of the positions of the alliance. So if you have a question about the date we've set for something or how we run something, I'm very open about it. There's no wondering. You with me? Now, if you can't be somewhere, if you just don't show up, that is not openness. It's when you talk to your manager and say, bro, listen, let me tell you what I got. Here, I got a little ankle bracelet on, and they won't let me leave the state. And you go like, well, we can't worry about him. Well, I mean, if the insurance company will take him, they trust him, I trust him. You with me? And I go, I understand. I understand your situation. I got you. You understand what I'm telling you is? It's an openness among the leadership that we don't have agendas. We're not wondering. We're not suspicious. Does this make sense? Which the book that we promote about this was another Stephen Covey Jr. book called The Speed of Trust. When you trust each other because you're very simple and open, now we don't have to wonder. You know, there's two different meanings for wonder. There's wonder where you're wandering around and you're not getting to the goal. We don't wander around. We go straight to the trip, straight tip to the paycheck. Straight. Does that make sense? There's no agenda stuff. These people with agendas, they slow the whole organization down. Does that help it from what we're trying to do? Speed of trust. So authentic mindset, clarity moves the speed of the organization. We get there faster so that we can start having fun quicker. Good, Jeff?
We got quotes, transparency quotes here. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, said by William Douglas, who was a former Supreme Court judge. He passed away in the 80s. And then evil is nourished and grows by concealment. Virgil is he's a way a long time ago Roman philosopher. So when I look at those two, I'm thinking that, hey, it's just best to be open with people and be out in the open. Nothing good comes from concealment. And I always tell people, if you want to sell anything, you want to be a good speaker, you need to be authentic and transparent, and you need to be passionate. And I hope the time I've spent with you, you understand I'm trying to be as authentic as I can on this stage. And I try to show you my passion when I speak. Those two things will make you a better salesperson. Now, we got a quote here from a song called Transparent. I like this song. You probably never heard of it. But consume all the obscene, suck it up. There's going to be some stuff you see, just suck it up. Have a thick skin. Persuade the most hideous and ugly. Don't avoid that. Try to persuade that. Under every pile and stone, a rebirth for you to find. Freedom is to be able to go in any direction. So take the uncertain path. 1 foot out in the open, 10 feet ahead. Build your own ladder and don't lie to yourself. That's transparency. That's right. Sincerity. How do you say this thing? We're going when we go to transparency. Lao Tzu, is that one you said? The next one?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
You've heard me tell you this. Some of you have, that we've had serious conversations. People say, well, he told me that it was okay. I go, he did. Oh, he told me it was perfectly okay, that you were okay with it, and the insurance department was okay with it. I said, do you remember the part where he said, don't tell nobody? Do you remember when he said that? Y'all hear me? That's the light he's talking about. The light we don't have to hide. It's not a secret. And by the way, this is not a surprise birthday party secret. This is, you know, in that gut, back what we were talking about earlier, that when this comes out in the light, it's going to be disinfected. Does that make sense? How are you prepared for it to come out into the light? And the other thing is, I've told so many individuals, I got like, look, I hear you. I know what you're saying. I just don't want you to lie to yourself. If you're telling me that you think this is the right thing for your family, you think this is the right thing to do, I just want you to think about the facts and not trick yourself. You need to know this decision you're making, where it's going to take you. I just don't want you to lie to yourself. Because people say, like, I think I'd be better off. I go, I'm okay you telling me that you're going to be better off doing that, but seriously? Are you telling yourself the same thing you're telling me? Because you can't be lying. Does that make sense? All right. We're rocking. We're moving.
Sincerity, is it Lao Tzu? Is that how we're saying that? Chinese,
yeah, Lao Tzu.
Chinese philosopher. He said, when pure sincerity forms within, it is outwardly realized in other people's hearts. I mean, if you've got it, other people are going to recognize it. Sincerity is moral truth. George Henry Lewis, he's from the late 1800s. He was a literature guy. Here, I like this song Lisa Stanfield sings. She's an English lady. She's from London. She wrote this lyrics. I love it. The road we need to travel for a better way of life, an attitude we need to take if we want to survive. Come on, give me sincerity. But we're always saying we don't have the time. We really sympathize. Well, maybe another time. Don't think about tomorrow. Do it while you've still got a chance. Sincerity. It's not too late to start being sincere. That's what she's saying. It's not ever too late to start being the things we're talking about today. Never too late, right? Never too late.
I have a local pastor friend, Mike Mitchner. He says this. He's where I remember hearing this. He said, what goes down in the well comes up in the bucket. You with me? So within, when it goes into the heart right, then it comes out of the mouth. So you can tell what people reading. You can tell what's building inside on the outside. Big time. What goes down in the well comes up in the bucket.
So the last one here.
Well, that's a good quote right there. Who said that? Lee. Out of the mouth, the heart speaketh. That's good stuff. Because this is the kind of stuff we'll add to the book. And you can say, I put that right there in. That's my contribution right there. That and $20,000 of production.
So ethical competence is the last part of the recipe. It's when you practice a code of conduct. It's one thing to talk about having a code. Now you've got to practice it. The proof's in the pudding here. This ensures honesty, which allows us to avoid deceitful behavior. And it promotes consistency, which creates a prevailing standard of decency. I mean, it comes down to, are we decent with each other? Are we treating each other decent? That's what people want, is to be treated decent. And they want to know that they're not going to be deceived. And that's what we get right here. Honesty and consistency creates this thing called ethical competence. Honesty. It can force any dysfunction in your life to the surface. If you start speaking the truth, it will take those dysfunctions and they'll float to the top. Honesty is your true moral compass. And it's made up of two things, truthfulness and wisdom. Truthfulness, there are different shades of the truth and different shades of telling the truth. When we tell a little white lie, it becomes progressively colorblind. It is better to remain silent than to mislead others. Wisdom. If nothing goes hand in hand on what we've talked about, this is the one that I'm most adamant about. You got to be honest to be wise, and you got to be wise to be honest. Wisdom. Thomas Jefferson said, he talked about it, honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. I mean, they complement each other. Wisdom. You cannot realize what I call your wise potential. Potential for being wise without producing honest thoughts. You'll never, ever have true wisdom unless you think honest thoughts. Amen. Consistency. People want that from us too. If they want honesty, they want to know that we're going to be honest every time. Not just some of the time. And honesty is easy to talk about, but I think consistency is tougher because it requires us to do three things. We have to accept conformity, and that's a tough thing. To be norm compliant, meaning you are a rule follower. One thing I learned at the college is to teach those young people to be norm compliant. Show up on time. Do your homework. I can't tell you how much I tried to help them with their reputation. If you want your reputation to go up higher, be norm compliant. People respect people that abide by the rules. That leads to being uniform, which creates regularity. And that regularity causes people to see you as being an accurate person in your beliefs and your conduct. They see accuracies in your beliefs and your conduct. And that's what makes up consistency, belief and conduct. What are your beliefs? They just want to know what you stand for. Not what you believe in, but what you stand for. And are you accurate with that in all your actions? Do your actions equal what you stand for? If they're inconsistent, people stop believing you. And they don't think you have integrity. And your conduct. See, your beliefs have everything to do with your word. But your conduct is what directly is tied to your reputation in this world. People are going to judge you on what you do, not what you say you're going to do. And that's where your reputation comes from, is what you do. You going to say something about that?
Well, yeah, I want to, I say this with new recruits, and it is, by the way, this is not a one-time deal. This is kind of like taking a shower. It works real good. You just have to do it over and over again and over and over again. You with me? So trust is built when you show up like you said you would, and then show up like you said you would, and then show up like you said you would. In other words, it is not a one-time deal, and it's like with Stephen Davies, I trust. Does that make sense? It's Mr. Consistency. I know where he's going to be. This is how we build the inner 33, and then the inner 300, and then 3,000. This is how you build an army. People say, I don't understand. How is it possible this guy did it? You got to have that tight inner circle of consistency. Say what you mean what you say, do what you promised. This month, people say, I had a terrible month, or I just couldn't work it out. And I go like, all right. See how that kills their consistency because they were inconsistent. Does that make sense? It's just, you have to stay after it. People say, well, does it depend on if you're, it don't depend on nothing. It's like kind of like no matter what, you figure out a way to show up. Figure out a way, you get it issued. Does that make sense? Like, if you look at Debbie Ben's reputation, her consistency, her conduct, and they come back to those stories about getting applications issued and just sitting there, going over to a person's house at 4 a.m., and then when they come out the door at 6:30 or 7 a.m., there you are, you get your signature. You say, well, I don't want to go over there and do nothing for 3 hours. You could go over there and book appointments for 3 hours. You could go read a book for 3 hours. You see, in other words, it's do what it takes to get it done so that you build this house of reputation.
And, you know, people like Michelle Allman, her name's always at the top here lately. Always at the top. It's because of that. It's because she's consistent.
She's honest.
She's not, and she's honest. But you know what? These people that have their name at the top, you know, what's that old adage, what have you done for me lately? Well, it is true. People are not going to be impressed what you did yesterday. And people love to talk about what they did yesterday. They only impress what you did today, and they're more impressed what you're going to do tomorrow. You can't be great some of the time. You got to be great all the time. Somebody goes, well, that's hard work. Well, yeah, it is. Being a human being is tough work. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. And this right here is key. It's key. If I could, I'm telling you, if I couldn't transfer but one thing to those kids that I spent 30 years trying to shape and mold their lives, I was trying to teach them to be consistent, because this world judges them on that and that alone.
He keeps marking out my words, Pam.
I'm sorry.
I have erased that, and erased that. He is consistent as the day is long. Hey, so biggest lie being told today is you got time. You don't have time. Got to be doing it now. Now's the time. There's some other big lies, like what he just said. Or one is, am I my brother's keeper? Like, I'm not my brother's keeper. And people use that on me. I go like, I'm not my brother's keeper. That's the thing. And I go, that's not right. The way it is, it means you are responsible for your hot spot. You are responsible for your group. You are responsible for your brother. Does that make sense? Like we are supposed to fix it. People say, well, I knew he was doing it, but I thought about saying something. I'm like, you should have said something. He was doing something to hurt the team. Talk to him. Or somebody's even speaking out in a hot spot. Go sit down beside. You don't have to scream at him, cuss him, but you can go sit down beside him. Sit down beside him, tell him, just pat him on the leg, and just. Does that make sense? It's doing what you're supposed to do. So your brother's keeper, and there was one other one that you said. There's brother's keeper, and there's no time. And what else you say?
You don't have to be being great.
Oh, yesterday. What is this? A company that's, what have you done for me lately? Like putting that down. Does that make sense? Like, I built this, and I'm going to do nothing now. So then you got a period of doing nothing. And they say, but you got to look at what I did. I'm like, bro, you ain't retired. Does that make sense? It's not based, it's what have you done lately is real. It is the right thing to do, not the wrong. People try to make fun of that, but they shouldn't make fun of that because it's important. Okay, all right, rocking? That catch it up?
All right, honesty quotes. I gave you that first one already from Thomas Jefferson. Let's look at the William Shakespeare. This is a big one right here. A lot in this. No legacy is so rich as honesty. Now, what legacy are we talking about? Legacy happens when you leave this room. What do you leave behind? Do you leave behind part of you? Yes, you do. People will talk about you, especially if you do something bad. Not necessarily talk about all the good stuff. But you leave a legacy every time you walk away from a hot spot. When you walk away from this instant thunder. You know, Plato said, the one thing, if you want to be known by people in a good way, have manners. Leave your manners behind. Show them that you got some sense about you. And they will at least remember that. So, and now, Billy Joel, I think some of you that are older know that he wrote a song called Honesty. Look at these lyrics here. Break it down. If you search for tenderness, it isn't hard to find. What he's saying is, it's easy to get people to be sympathetic for you. People will cry with you all day long. I'm so sorry. Let's hug it out. You can have the love you need to live, but if you look for truthfulness, You might just as well be blind. It's easy to get people to sit there and pat you on the back and find pity for you, but it's hard to see truthfulness come your way in this world. It always seems to be so hard to give it also. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty is hardly ever heard and mostly what I need from you. That's what we really want from people. We just want their best effort, but we want their honest effort. And then we got the last quote is from the Bible. Yeah. It's not Kendrick Lamar. I hate that drastic contrast that I use in these quotes, but this is from Numbers. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. That's consistency.
I hate it for Billy Joel, but I find it everywhere with you in the Alliance. I love it. I love the Alliance. I love what we stand for. I love my wife last night serving and just couldn't take care of people enough. And I'll take you out to the cabin and put live rounds and live shotguns and trust you. You understand how important that is? With the activities we do, there needs to be trust up in here. My wife and my children's life are in your hands. I gotta trust you. And if you're at a company or you work with an organization where you don't trust the people to do what they're supposed to do, it's a terrible life. I don't care if you are paying your bills. The crazy talk to be part of an organization where you trust and enjoy and have fun with the people. That's right. I think I heard that about your wife recently, Lauren. She said that she just loves the atmosphere of the Alliance, and she said, let's put a bigger push on. Right? Is this true of which I speak? 100%. That's where we are, guys. People said, I actually was talking to one of the presidents of one of the life insurance companies, and he said, what do you think it is? I said, it's a lot of stuff. The biggest thing I think is we're having fun together. And now we don't have to look backwards to who's getting us in the back. We can just look 100% forward. It's hard to fight a fight. It's hard to fight a fight with somebody with a sword if you're having to turn around and fight off people on your own team. What is wrong with y'all? Does that make sense? And some people live that life with their family. They're trying to build their business and their family's trying to hold them back. Whether it be a spouse, whether it be a mom and daddy, whether it be a kid, whether it be their neighbors. They say, why are you doing this? And you're like, shut up, I'm trying to win. Like, leave me alone. I'm trying to build something big. I'm trying to build a legacy here for my family. Get off my back. And we're not having that inside the Alliance. You feel way more comfortable. You feel way more secure so that you can pour every dime, every bit of energy, every waking minute into the Alliance. That's why we say it's enough. I got enough to do, man. I ain't got time to do that. I ain't got time to do that. I ain't got time to worry about that. I ain't got time to fuss about that. We got to go this direction because we're blowing up, right?
You know, takeaways here, it's a lot of stuff. And we're going to write a book, so, it's going to be in the book. But integrity definitely gives us legacy. It helps us leave a legacy the right way, the proper way. That's right. And it also gives you in your life legitimacy. Those two L's. I really believe that. If I could have brought my kids from the college over here on a field trip and if I knew about this place and I could have brought them over here to let them meet you, it may have changed their life because they don't know that this kind of trust and integrity exists in the world. I can only tell them about it in a textbook. But we don't realize what we don't realize. We don't see what we don't see. And we're sitting here in the middle of it, and for long, we're going to take it for granted because we just think everybody's like this. Everybody ain't like this. They're not. We got something special. But we are the gatekeepers of this special. We have got to do those 4 things I talked about. We just introduced you to integrity. We've got to also be accountable. We've got to have respect for each other, and we've got to have some compassion for each other. We cannot shirk those duties, not to each other and not to the new people that are entering our doors, and we're inviting them into this special place that we call the Alliance.
I want to leave you with this. Billy, is it possible, can y'all put the March Madness scoreboard up? I only called it off. There we go. Think about it. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is in 15 days have passed 24,800 issue paid. If she can do it in 15, can you do it in 20? Can you do it in 30? James Coleman's comment to Diane Lampy, he says, I had no idea I could do this. If you had no idea, you might kind of be like James Coleman. You might not know that you can do it. You know the secret? He booked more appointments. He didn't stop. People ask me all the time, like, how do they do it? They don't stop after 7 appointments. Does that make sense? They don't go, whew, got 7. If you want to stop, that's fine. But don't wonder why. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Or another, don't lie to yourself. You only got 7. You're not going to produce. And by the way, if you're brand new, one secret is these guys have been buying leads for years, and their client base is stacked up. You say, that's unfair. What am I going to do? Make it fair. Buy a ton of leads. Does that make sense? In other words, don't lie to yourself and think you can take 5 leads and turn it into 20 sales. It's because I get people saying this. They go like, I can't figure out what's wrong. I'm like, what? Does that make, I mean, it's in other words, I almost said I don't want people to learn English. But it's more than English. I guess it's learning a value of honesty, knowing this hard to make 20 sales with 5 leads.
And being consistent with that value. Say his name for me. You always say it.
Doge.
Doge?
Marty Doge.
Okay.
It's French.
It's French.
It is. I'm serious. I'm honest about it. Ask him. Michelle Alleman was gone. Her and Mike were with us in Steamboat for 7 days. Chadwick and Melanie Ray were in Steamboat with us. Eric Belair was in Steamboat with us. Swindell was in these. All these were one earned the trip and showed up at the trip. How about that? So 15 days, but yet they were there with us. How does that happen? Math. Numbers. My man Tipton coming on strong. Pam Moore, she's right there. She's going to be here all week. Raise your hand. Matter of fact, if you're on this leaderboard, stand up. Pam, stand up. Who else is on there? Who else is in here? Melanie Ray? And if you're on this leaderboard, stand up. If I've called your name. Chris Long, Nick Narlis, Taylor Smith, Debbie Ben, Dylan, Angela Clark is in here. Y'all need to find her. The reason I'm saying, y'all need to get a hold of these people and talk to them and say, what are you doing? Terry Edwards up in the house. There's Terry. Stand up, Terry and Tia.
My friend, Terry.
I tell you what, I stopped at 50. Let's go a little bit more than 50 and see who stands a chance.
Glenn Lamb's out there, I think.
Glenn Lamb's in here. 55. Stand up, Glenn. Katrina Guston, Diaz, Norman, Randy Davison, Bob Blevins in the house, man. Lisa Line, Andershock, Dan Silva. The Carries just told me, they said, you got to meet this Dan Silva. He's up on the West Coast, Northwest. You got to meet him. Hernan's in here. Hernan, stand up, Hernan. Bubba. Y'all, if you hear me say Bubba, I kind of get to know Bubba. Bubba was a high school friend of Paul Roberts. Well, I guess we need to ask Paul, because he talks about how far he was down. I wonder if this guy was above him or below him in the high school graduation. But he was looking at, saw him, just stuff he would post online, and he said, my God, what are you doing, Paul? Paul said, got to get your insurance license. And just like that, Bubba's showing up everywhere. I love it. That's fun. It's kind of like Danny Johnson over there. Somebody from a blast from the past. You got a buddy, and you want them to come on with you. Who else? Glenda Graham was running a New Jersey meeting this week. Minerve. You got to believe that Minerve is going to make it. Her and Pierre are going to make a run. Like, what if they finished in the top 10? From 64 to the top 10 at the end of the month. It's very possible. Meg Murray, Nick Neitzel, Melissa.
Well, it is March Madness. We had a lot of upsets in the NCAA. There's another Olivan.
Oh, 2 Ollimans in the top 100. Marcus Penn, Michelle Penn, Joe Dukes making a showing. Look at this. This is going to be fun. There's Toby Griggs, Jasmine Lightborn, Wendy, Mickey. Mickey, stand up. There he is.
Adam
Katz.
Adam Katz.
Number 80 in production, Bo. Yakey. Is Jen Moore here? Get up in here, Jen. Vanessa, part of the Alex Abian team. Lee Reyes, West Coast. Magar, Nikki, Loan, Katie Williams, Marcy Hicks. Texas showing up at 88. Danny Johnson, he's right over there. I think Lori's over there too. Stand up, Lori. Y'all got you can tell him how he does it. Let's do the top 100, then we got to get out of here. Samir coming in at 91. David Lewis, Anthony Evans, Paul Roberts. How we say that? Umaka. Huh? Amaka. I said, well, yeah, why don't we write it like that? And they said, that is like that. That's the way you spell Amaka. That is Amaka right there. Amaka. Alara. That's part of Joe Dukes' team right there. Brian Likens making a move. Jan Miller and Leticia. Let's see if we can just do the 100. We're going to stop it at 100. Jeremico Edwards and Gary Philistine. All right, guys. Thank y'all for plugging in. We love y'all. We got an instant thunder to do. Give them a bye-bye. See y'all. Hey, we killed it. I feel real good about it.